is probably doing a recording about this, and it's kind of annoying. Uh, I'm a little disappointed. I'm kind of sad, honestly. Um, this is my first thing. I've never done anything like this. I've never talked to anyone in online. Hello, people. Um, just it being my name's Hemos, super toxic, terrible person. So don't use me as a role model. Don't take this as anything more than someone rambling on the internet. But obviously, there's a huge discourse around Yasuke, and it's just I want to say it didn't affect me. I want to say it didn't bother me. I want to say it was just all perfectly fine. But the reality of the situation is like what it's been like a week since the trailer dropped, and I still haven't even watched it because it just felt so I don't know. It was just it just detached from me instantly. Like one, just the idea that you could just tell it was done with perfect intention of controversy. Just the idea of you picked one of the most controversial of historical options. Let's just say something along those lines. And it was just like you, the fact that I knew I was going to have a bunch of conversations. There's a bunch of conversations. Look how many conversations are being had about this when it's just like it shouldn't have ever been anything more than wow, that's cool, that's neat, that's nice. Who cares? Like I just wanted to be like that. I just wanted to keep it that simple and have it just be something straightforward like that. But it just like I said, I the fact that I haven't even watched it yet is a testament to the fact that it isn't that simple. I've watched reviews on it more than I've even watched it as of yet. I haven't even watched the trailer. I haven't even finished the trailer. I saw him reveal in the first like what 10 seconds, and then I was just like, oh my god! I literally was just like, okay, let me get ready for this conversation that I'm gonna have to start having. But let's start with. I guess I'll watch it. I'll it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll watch it, and then I'll have an opinion. And I just kind of want that. I just want an opinion out there, I guess, and we'll just go from there. Because I haven't watched. Oh yeah, like I was gonna say, I've watched a few other people's like, and I didn't watch like full reviews, so I haven't seen the whole video, blah blah blah. But I've watched like I was watching. I'm gonna say Luke Stevens, for example. Like, and I looked at Luke Stevens. I really appreciated that, like his version of his review. Like he was just like realism, huh? That's cool. The game's what I'm going to talk about, and the pricing and the blah blah blah. Like, ooh, like I really appreciate that. Even like Kotaku, the same concept of just being like, yeah, uh, the Japanese aren't really known for keeping bad records. So the idea that this would just be totally made up, it's like, is this only an American issue? Is there is Japan coming? Like you would just think that those would be the people complaining if that was like why is it Americans always complaining? Why is it always I don't know. Let's watch it. We'll go from there, and let's see how. Oh, hopefully, it's just a good time, right? Like nothing too crazy. I do have to do this. I would assume you have to do ads. Or ads like part of the game. But, even that's just a fun concept to me. The idea that we're not going to eventually just get a traditional main character. Is that what you want to say? A realism main character. Like that's just such a crazy concept to me. Like this is even why I haven't watched anyone's full content. I haven't watched anyone's opinions on this because I don't want the opinion to like mar my opinion. I just kind of want my own fresh opinion off of this. Politically and specifically, I don't care. Like I guess I should start off with that. Like Assassin's Creed. I mean, Valhalla was just killing me. Like I really, really wanted to like Valhalla, and there's so many little things about it were just killing me. Like I'm like, why is Eivor opening this box so slow? Like it just felt like it was wasting my time. I'm like, why is this map just filled with 1,000 little baby objectives? And it's cool. I know a lot of people who like never ending games, things that are just forever to do, something to like constantly be doing something every day. But I mean, I remember just doing the really whatever the little dance, the little merchant character's name was. I remember them doing like a daily token shop or something along those lines. And I really liked that premise. I was like, wow, that's really cool. That's really forward. The idea that, you could potentially get DLC items through the in-game shop. I waited like what her whole first year for like the ice set, something super simple. I forgot what it was, and I think eventually in year and a one and a half, you got like a shield, and like you got half of it by that point. And I was like, I already played through. I wouldn't say through beta, but I played through like day one through the first 3 months. Basically, I got one of those Ubisoft prescriptions and prescriptions subscriptions, and it was fun. It was fun enough, but it lost its lackluster. And then they started taking out the little hacks and the little cheats, and I was like, that was kind of fun. It's a single player game. Why would I not like to cheese out the zealots or whoever they were? That was fun, but like the game just so rapidly was trying to kill me. It was trying to just waste my time, and I just couldn't deal with that. So like I just stopped doing the subscription. And I never regretted that actually. I was always waiting for a reason to go back and play, but it never ended up happening. I would say I'm an OG. I definitely like the old Assassin's Creed, but pure assassiny things, cool stuff. But even in then, like that's not. I'm not a new game's a new game. A new system's a new system. Like, if you really like, it's one of like the classic music problem. If you like the old album, if you like the old game, you can always play the old game. You can always go back and play that. And I understand that like you want more of the same or you want more of the whatever, but like sometimes that's not an option. There's only so much of something you could have. Like, and that's unfortunate. But like until mods, I guess mods shouldn't be the end all be all for answers, but generically, there's only so much you could have. So because of that, why be upset when something's over? You're supposed to. Life is temporal, so you should definitely just enjoy it in the moment and move on. And this is just a whole new game. This is a new experience. This isn't Valhalla. This isn't blah blah blah. Like I understand, like that, you comprehend that, but like it's just a different game. It's that hard, dude. See, and I really just wanted to be like, that's where I stopped. I remember stopping there. I guess that's as far as I got. And I definitely like I said, you could feel it. I was just like, oh man, I saw him and I was just like, I hope that's just some random dude. I hope that's just some random, not random black guy, but just some. Obviously, he's not a random black guy, but I was like, I hope they don't pick the one kind of samurai that we've known that I've seen pictures in historical things about. I hope they just pick some random dude. Like I hope it's not him. Like why would you do that? Why would you be so controversial? But Ubisoft's been doing that for the last like 3 games now. So I that's a cheap shot, right? But I feel like I don't remember why the ending of Assassin's Valhalla was it because like is that spoilers? Was it because like Eivor ended up not being the main character and someone else ended up being the main character, or like the assassins were bad people? It was just like something weird, and I just remember just being upset over it. But they're not known for caring about the fan base like that. Like they don't care how you feel about stuff like that. That's not their forte. He looked so sad. You could just see it in his face. He was like, "Oh, I can see the online controversialness for later." Super quick cheap shot, I guess. I always think it's super interesting as people who don't play with swords or don't have any sword technique or anything like that. The idea that swords are heavy. That's such an interesting concept. Like you're gonna carry it all day. Samurais are gonna carry it all day. Aren't they carrying multiple swords? And I just don't know why you would think they're particularly heavy. Why ladies can't have swords, or why everyone wouldn't have swords, or like the average dude isn't particularly that big or that gigantic. Like why would you think a sword is so cumbersome that he couldn't carry it around for the whole day without issues? Like swords aren't heavy enough to not want to carry it. And if you had a heavy war sword or something along those lines, you would just have that for a special occasion. I think that's how that works generically. Like obviously, I think there's a lot of sword technique. There's a lot of sword shapes and reasons to have longer swords, but for your everyday carry, for I feel like that was just a known thing to have a light sword. Like practicality beats most things in, I guess, in a realistic situation. And doesn't it just make the most sense for like a smaller character to be an assassin? Doesn't that just make the most sense? Or a ninja? I love it. Is it me? Is it me because I'm so not self-conscious that I'm so confident that I'm just like, what is it with people? Like, I don't look at little men and being like, oh man, little men can never do something little like that. Like, how could he be so athletic when he's so little and small? Like, and I'm like, we don't look at little dudes like that. So why do you guys look at like girls like that? You're just like, there's no way she. You see how high she jumped? Like, I just can't comprehend it. That would just it just starts a never-ending battle of why are you hating? I just don't comprehend. Like, and you can even just see her techniques different. I like it a lot. Like that's cool. Like he's way more she's directing people. I like it. Oh well, because I was a hammer. I was definitely one. I was like, that wasn't really a sword slash or mace hammer, a blunt object. Even just that, like the idea that he wouldn't be under. I am terrible with names. Nobunada. No, I'm not saying it right. I'm gonna stop saying it. Importantly, I'm just like, all right, is Japan not known for their great record taking? Is paperwork like not their thing? I think that's their number one thing. I've heard that from many people that they really are really big on the paperwork. I can't imagine that this would have gotten so far, that this would have came through all of time and history from this country to be like, oh yeah, that guy, we don't even know who that is. Like, I wish. I mean, where are my Japanese Smithsonian people at? Why are I'm kidding. I know there's a billion videos. See, I've avoided the discourse, so I can't be like, where are these videos? I'm sure there's a billion videos. I'll watch some videos when I'm done with this because there, I'm sure a billion people are doing them. Man, you know, I was expecting something crazy. Like I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting something insane. Like the amount of conversation I had, I was just thinking it was going to be something excessive. Give me 1 second. Hmm. All right. Oh, so I can bring it up. Oh, I know what's happening. Okay. See, I'm so new. I don't even think I'm doing that. I think I showed you like the window instead of the screen or something. Oh, I hope you guys had sound. I guess I'll double check that later. It's not important. I guess it's more about me talking anyway, so you don't necessarily have to hear that. And then I guess now that I've watched it, I don't know. I wish, I guess, that I could say like, wow, that was cool. Dude looks like me. Neat. That's fantastic. But it just goes back to like, I mean, it's too obvious like that Ubisoft has their little agenda. Like it's a female and a black guy. Like it's just so blunt. And but I always wonder when things are so obvious like that. When companies are doing little black squares, when yada 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 is happening. Like how do people think that that's not that's just not directly a marketing thing? That it's any like this is a political agenda or something along those lines when it's obviously money and marketing. But yeah, I don't have too much to say. I guess I would just say even like Ubisoft isn't known for keeping their people happy. I'm still waiting. I think on a back to Valhalla. I'm still waiting on New Game Plus, and I'm like, when am I going to get that? And I think they're never going to do that. I think they announced it like 2 years into the game that we weren't getting New Game Plus. I think that's the reason I never really came back because I beat the game, and then the DLCs are cool, and there's a lot of DLC stuff in Valhalla, but I definitely just remember that not being enough for me, that not meaning enough to me, and I definitely wanted more. I just wanted to go back. I just wanted to go back over the entire game with the entire story, with my stuff, with my character, with my special gear, and because it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun beating that game. It wasn't fun grinding that game out. Like as someone who plays infinite games, like it was an infinite game, and I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that there was no real reason for doing anything other than you wanted to do it. Oh, you're building this build, so blah, blah. That's why you're doing it, but for no other reason. Like not because I mean, and then it would just take so much time. It would just be a time consuming process. It wasn't really just be being done to be being done or for fun's sake. I guess I do want to address that crowd. I'm kind of curious. And like I don't even mean to be like us versus them or these people versus that people. That's not really for me. That's like I'm I used to think I was a moderate. I used to think that I was a completely normal, average, opinionated person, and nothing crazy. Like I didn't think I had hot takes. I didn't think that. Yeah, I didn't know my opinions were so spicy that the idea of just being like, wow, that's a video game character and nothing else was just controversial. The fact that like there's video essays, there's tens of dozens of video essays on this one thing, and it's just like, how can you say it's not controversial or that it's okay, it's not a big deal, blah blah blah, but like we need 20 video essays just because of a skin tone. I was gonna say. Yeah, just because of a skin tone. Like that's just a crazy concept. Like America really is just still reeling in such a weird. We're just in such a weird space, and I just don't comprehend that. And oh yeah, okay. So back to like the crowd. That's like I want them to actually. I don't know. I guess I wish they would just. I guess I wanna because you guys are watching. I want your opinion. I guess like that crowd. I want your guys' opinion as well as like the people who are like reasonable with me. But like it's just is that really is realism? No, realism just can't be your argument. I just can't. I don't understand it. Like it's just like we're this is it's that's just sorry. I'm stuttering super hard. It's just too many people, too many games are just so crazy. There's gods and Valkyries and Jesuses and various other things in the game, and you're gonna be like, oh man, that character has too much melanin. I just can't. I can't see it. I can't. It affects me heavily. It affects me heavily. The melanin of that character, like wow, the estrogen levels of that other character too, just ruined the whole experience for me. I mean, half being a half god or something that would have been cool. Or if it was an alien, that would have been fine. I'm sitting here like you could have put Piccolo in the game. As far as I'm concerned, like just a straight green alien with tentacles, or tentacles is the wrong word. Antennae. There we go, antenna. And I'd be like, wow, that's super cool. I'm very happy. I'm pleased, in fact. You could put Goku in there. That's just it's a video game. I don't know when video games became about realism. I feel like video games' best argument was the fact that they're not realistic. like video games of like it's kind of like the Grand Theft Auto argument, like da, 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 no matter how good the twerking physics are, no matter how good the sound quality is of the gun clips dropping, gun mags dropping, whichever. Oh man, I don't want that beef. But more importantly, like the realism never, no matter, it'll never cross into being realistic. It doesn't matter. Like you sat down at your imagination box, you sat down at your computer and plugged in some data, and you got something to look like something else. It's just like when did it become realism? When was realism like simulation games? When you say the word simulation, you've instantly agreed that this is no longer real. Like, and those are highly realistic scenarios or simulations, and it's just like that's never been the premise for video games, and it's just really upsetting that like that would be kind of an argument. I'm like, I just really wish it was, you guys weren't driving me crazy with that one. Like that's I don't care what you're like, I don't care if you were just like, man, I wanted to like that's it here. That's even my whole point. I'm perfectly fine with people just saying directly, hey, I wanted a main white character. Like I just wanted him to be white. I just wanted him to look like me. And you know, I feel that. Like that's how I feel. So like it makes sense. It's I can dig that. You're just like, wow, that's super cool. Like I mean, or you want to be like, wow, that's super cool. He looks like me. That's cool. I can see myself in that scenario. But like, why are we pretending like there's not like 17 other games where you can already do that? Or or even just that, just like the whole idea of like I guess representation as a whole, representation being bad has been so strange to me. I'm like, when there's it'd be one thing if like truly everything was just all about representation, and that's never going to be the case. It doesn't make sense. Like that's not where the market is. That's not how reality is. It's like whenever there's 17 movies out, maybe what, two about representation, like what, like when, like for example, Damsel comes out, I'm sure, I don't even know this, and I'll be willing to say what, like when Damsel's in theater, the other 15 movies, how many more of those or do you think are about representation and inclusionism or whatever? Like, well, 1/3. Like just saying the other movies are about normal stuff and basic things and your average character. Like I just don't comprehend people acting like that's like everything has to be for them. Like everything has to be 100% for them. Like other people, other types of people don't exist. Like I'm completely in the opposite spectrum of this whole thing where I'm just like, I would be happy if we had, I would say, a wheelchair person in every single video game, and the gay people too. Like I don't, it doesn't bother me. Like I don't know if that's a confidence thing. I don't know if that's a lack of confidence thing, but why would I not? Like it just goes back to reality has them, they exist, they're an option. I like options. Options are good. I just don't understand why I'm gonna like for me to even just realism is just such a cop out. You're like, oh well, you know, the wheelchair person couldn't, blah blah blah. Make them faster. Give them stats. I don't have time for this. This it's a video game. Patch them in. Patch them into the game, please. Just like I if anything, the reality of the situation is if we stop fighting this and we let it just keep, if you let it wash over you, like we'll eventually get enough representation where we'll get good representation and we can just go back to ignoring them like everybody else. So you could just if everyone was equal, if everything was, I mean not very equal is a very vague word, but if everyone had the option of being themselves, truly, it just wouldn't be a negative thing. There would be I don't see I don't see any negativities. And it just goes back to like the video game crowd is such a weird crowd. It's like some games, everyone's just so happy when there's a female main character, like Naraka Blade or something along those lines. Like people were just loving that new main character. Just like she's not 2B, she's her own girl, and I appreciate that. It's definitely near Automata knockoff. Like I mean not 100%. It's near Automata new game plus extra without the lore something something something. But like more importantly, yeah, people weren't upset. People weren't like, whoa, that girl main character, that's not realistic. In the future, robots, they wouldn't be sexy girls. That's why would we do that? Even if you look at it at its absolute most base level, it'd be like some random black guy from Japan. He knows how to fight, and maybe knows how to fight, and maybe has some gear and has a sword, and might not be a samurai. Is that not cool enough? Is that not super cool? Like, is that not like already like even just the idea like that story made it through all of time in history through Japanese culture. Like that's just that fact that that story has made it. Like I just couldn't imagine that it would have made it so far if it just had no backing. Just like the idea that like, the one of the countries known for their record keeping so hard is just would have just kept that for history. Like even if they were just like I don't know, I'm down to even argue that maybe he wasn't a full fledged samurai because I you can get that. Like I can even see it being something as simple as like, oh, they don't let people not from the country be samurais. Cool. He was probably most likely, and I'm sure there's like it goes like the I'm not a historian, but I've definitely looked into this at this point. It's just like he was. It's hard to argue that he wasn't a sword holding individual. Like there's too many statues, there's too many pictures, there's too many art depictions of him being under Nobunaga and being having a sword. So it's just fundamentally the idea that he wasn't a combat ready individual who he lives through the death of Nobunaga and his son. And it's just like you don't just live through wars uh being a servant boy. Like I don't know what to say. Like everyone else gets slaughtered, everyone else gets killed. Like yeah, he was cool. They're like, oh wow, he's cool and black, but like they weren't gonna not kill him. Like it's just like I mean, they weren't going to not fight him per se. Like, I just, like, I don't see him not being tested. Like, the fact that he was a warrior probably has kept him alive in the first place. They weren't just like, wow, he's a cool nobody. Like, they were just like, wow, he's cool, dark, and strong. Like, that just makes more sense as far as the story is concerned. Like, you don't just live through two wars not being combat ready, not having a sword, not having battle prowess. And that's without him even having to be a samurai. That's without him having to be anything special. Like, yeah, you know, and there's so much historical text, there's so many books, documentation, yada yada yada. I just can't imagine it getting this far without it having some kind of realism or some kind of actual point to it. I guess back to my final point, like I definitely do want to like I want to have oops, sorry, I guess I do want to have like a last moral standing take on this because like I'm a very moral person, and like I said, I used to think my morals were moderate. I used to think I was just an average person, nothing too crazy, and yada yada yada. But I guess I have to say this. I believe truly that it is the duty of the strong to protect the weak. I do believe. I don't understand. Like that's the most masculine thing you can do. That's your purpose in society. That's your purpose in your family is to take care of, to provide, to protect, yada yada yada. And that combined with the idea that everyone's strong at something different, like people, the physically strong are enforcers and they should be, and they obviously could use their power incorruptly and enforce the wrong things. However, I feel personally that the point of being powerful is to enforce positivity. It's to enforce that everyone's strengths. Like you're strong, but you're not the smartest. That's just like someone else is the smart. Someone else can climb the tree better. Yada yada yada. Like, and because of that, like you should let them shine as well in that aspect. Like it goes back to like there's the war general and then there's the tactician, and they're fundamentally different people. And sometimes they overlap, and some people can be both. But the idea that the strong wouldn't need other kinds of people, that the strong wouldn't need the handicap, the strong wouldn't need females, yada yada yada. Everyone has their purpose, and it is the strong's purpose to truly allow that to thrive. It is we are the enforcers, and our enforcement is to allow everyone to exist properly, or allow everyone to exist in a space where they can shine. They can space in a space where they're beneficial to society, to the strong, back to themselves, so on and so forth. Everyone needs purpose. Everyone needs a goal. Like that's just human fundamentalness, and I don't comprehend the idea of using your strength to abuse other people, using your strength, using your platform to just ruin other people's fun, other people's opportunity over like video games, over little things. We were just like, it's just so embarrassing to me, and I don't as an actually strong individual, I don't get it. I don't comprehend. I don't I don't know. It's like everyone's good at something. The strong are good at enforcing that. Like I feel like we're the safety monitors of the world, and I don't know. The realism argument just really upsets me. And my last thing will just be like, I've never heard a delicious person ever say there's too much seasoning in my food, and that's just like how the world fundamentally works. Like I don't see there being any negative to diversity. I don't know what to say, but that's me. I'm obviously crazy. Have a good day. I appreciate you.